We have two breaking stories here. First one by Danny Gold. Unbelievable. Right after the healthcare loss, Trump revealed his Trump card. What's that? And after massively screwing up the healthcare bill, Paul Ryan got some very bad news today. You know what? Let's get into this one first by Paris Swede. Paul Ryan got some bad news. President Trump pulled out of the health care bill today. It was going to pass. It wasn't going to pass. So Paul Ryan and President Trump actually pulled out. Many believe that the unpopular health care bill named Ryan Care was another big government solution. President Trump is playing chess because this is a perfect way to get rid of Paul Ryan once and for all. According to Breitbart News, many allies of President and several White House officials have now confirmed that President is concerned that Ryan may not have his agenda's best interests at heart. Ryan's failure to deliver the votes on health care cement Trump's skepticism of Ryan, they say. This is another example of the staff not serving the president well, and the weakness of Paul Ryan's speakership. A source near Donald Trump told Breitbart, this calls into question once again the speaker's commitment to supporting Donald Trump and his agenda. The White House told Breitbart News that the president is not happy with Ryan. Here is Paul Ryan tapping out like a loser that he is. I'm just reading this, mind you.
Speaker, you all swept the House, won the majority with the promise to repeal Obamacare. The majority in the Senate with the promise to repeal Obamacare. The White House with the promise to repeal Obamacare. How do you go home to your constituents and send all of your members home to their constituents saying, you know what? It's not even 100 days into the administration. Sorry, folks, we just can't figure it out.
Dana, it's a really good question. I wish I had a better answer for you. I really believe that Obamacare is a law that is collapsing. It's hurting families. It's not working. It was designed in a fundamentally flawed way. We believe this bill is the best way to go, but we just didn't quite get the consensus to get there.
Senior aides from the several House GOP office from the House Freedom Caucus told Breitbart that there is a discussion going around to replace Paul Ryan as a Speaker of the House. I say, we keep this going, keep the energy going. It's time to actually drain this swamp. Share this news 1 million times and comment, get rid of Ryan. Okay. Second story by Danny Gold. Unbelievable. Right after the healthcare loss, Trump revealed his Trump card. This is interesting, right? Look, we all wanted to see Obamacare go away. However, a bunch of Democrats and people like John McCain and Paul Ryan did their best to make this not happen. But it didn't slow Trump down one bit. In fact, Donald Trump knows Obamacare will fail. So, now he is on to part 2 of his plan to save the country. Trump tax reform is coming by August. Muchinin said, healthcare is a very complicated issue. In a way, tax reform is a lot simpler. We are not cutting this up and doing little pieces at a time.
Now, speaking of negotiator-in-chief, few problems with healthcare in the last 24 hours. What can we learn from the debacle over healthcare that will help you as you head into tax reform?
Well, if it passes today, it won't be a debacle.
I don't think yesterday exactly went this way. Is it going to pass? Is it going to pass?
I'm optimistic it's going to pass. I think that, first of all, healthcare and tax reform are two very different things.
Yeah, it's the same. No, it's you can learn a lot.
It is, but what I would say is healthcare, first of all, is a very, very complicated issue. That,
and tax reform is it?
In a way, it's a lot simpler. It really is. It's a lot simpler because the goals of tax reform, okay, which are about creating a middle-income tax cut, about creating personal tax simplification, and making U.S. businesses competitive, okay, where we have a very high business tax rate and worldwide income. We're able to take the tax code and redesign things, and I think there's very, very strong support. I think in healthcare, it's a much more complicated issue where you start out with Obamacare, which had all these issues, and you're trying to kind of get rid of it and make changes simultaneously.
Now, you've famously said that we would have tax reform by Congress's August recess. Is that still the case?
Well, I'd like to think so. I mean, what I've said all along is this is optimistic. Okay, this is a big challenge, but we're going to try to get it done on that period of time. And if we don't, we'll get it done right afterwards. It is, it's a big priority. And I think, the other thing that people always ask me is, well, why did we do health care first, and why did we wait for tax reform? I mean, we've been working the last 2 months on tax reform. So, this is something, because we are designing it from scratch and running through a lot of scenarios, we've needed the last 2 months to work on. We would not have been ready to go a month ago on tax reform, and now we are.
Well, that's good to hear. So, what does the new tax reform involve? Big tax cuts for individuals, big tax cuts for businesses, a 20% tax cut on imports from other countries, reduced tax deductions for the extremely wealthy. See, this is exactly what Donald Trump promised us during the election, and he is doing it. The real reason the Democrats hate Trump is because he actually keeps his word. If you're excited to see America's taxes get back on track and not steal the hard-earned money from our wallets, then give this video a share and let Trump know that you agree with his plan. Makes sense. And be happy. We have Trump in office. And I believe Trump will figure something out with health care as well, for all of you that are a little worried about that. Please share this with your friends on Facebook and Twitter, because I'm sure they may